All right, look at this, guys. Good guy Rifkin cuts the ad short because he doesn't want you to miss any of the action. Game did start a little bit sooner than expected, but that's okay. I'm going to move the name over to fix his name on the overlay in a moment, but getting into this fresh, brand new best of 3. For the third time, we see this exact best of 3 play out, and it is once again on Orbital Shipyard. Spawning the top right spawn location of the map, it's going to be the green Terran player, Lillekanin.
In the bottom left as the yellow Protoss, it's Theo.
Alright, so Theo, probably the lesser known of the two, because we've been casting Lillekanin ever since Heart of the Swarm. Theo has recently started coming to the spotlight with Legacy of the Void. We talk a lot about players who seem to be getting a lot better than their Heart of the Swarm counterparts, I guess. Semper was a great example yesterday, just showing the best Terran play I've seen in a long time in Legacy. From mediocre Terran. Theo's kind of on that same path where we're seeing a really good show of him here in Legacy. He's smart, he's educated, he's been on Katz's talk show a couple times, he knows what he's talking about, and especially when it comes to fighting Lillekanin's weird mech style, he's actually been able to beat it despite losing to it still in best of 3s.
So, does Theo always go for Tempests? Like, or is this be the reaction of seeing Lillekanin going for mech?
So, initially, and again, it's Orbital Shipyard, I swear to God it's this map. Like, they've got something figured out where they just both agree, no rush 20 minutes on this map, like that sort of type thing, right? Yeah, he's been going Stargate openers into Tempest mass, and to be honest, we saw the first time they played together, the Tempest destroyed the battlecruisers. It wasn't even close. The Ravens did nothing. It was gross and disgusting and unfair. The second time, though, Lillekanin actually whooped his ass with the exact same strategy against the same composition. So I'm unsettled right now on which is better, and it really does seem like those weird mass, slow-moving air units are going to be determined by a lot of combination of skill, but decisions on when to and when not to take battles.
Lillekanin is going mech already. You see 2 factories put down.
Ooh, that's actually a really fast second factory.
Yeah.
He does like mech, but I've not seen him go for it. Like, usually it is still getting that faster starport out and going for the faster third. So this will be interesting. I have not seen this version before.
This could be just the safe expand that you would see in like TVZ occasionally. You get the 2 factories, so you have decent production early on, but not your full production, just 3 factories and 2 base. You get tanks fairly early, and you get some Hellions, a buff for them. Or it could be like a mass Blue Flame Hellion build, which also is in TVZ, which you can do, I guess, in TVP and try and make it work. There's going to be a Cyclone plus Hellions?
The Cyclone I really like for the opener. I would actually really like if this was Widowmines to follow it up too. I mean, the Hellions wouldn't be bad, of course, but the Cyclone is so good it blanketly catches all. It's kind of been restored more or less to its former glory. If you guys never played the start or didn't watch any of the initial Legacy back in April or whenever it launched, the Cyclone was this bullshit unit. Pardon me swearing once again, but it was just a unit that countered everything and anything. It's been toned down a lot since then and tweaked and changed quite a bit, but stopping Phoenix, stopping Oracle, stopping Adepts, it covers you in the early game for the most part.
Yeah. And that is one of the reasons he got anyways, that he did scouts the Stargate. Tried to be in position to catch the Oracle at surprise, but did not work out. Getting a second Cyclone, though, I think says, more than just like, oh, I tried to counter your 1 unit with my 1 unit, and is actually going to try and do something composition-wise with it. Either it's a very safe opener, combined with the Marines and Hellions, or that's a composition he'll choose to go for. But we already have Theo deciding to go for not Blink Stalkers to harass a little, not like, Archons and charge lots to bull rush your way through it. No, he's going for that Stargate tech, and I guess we'll be seeing Tempest. Alright.
So talking on that in a moment, one of the big things we have here, this is still fairly new, so that's why I bring it up every time we see it, is the upgrade for the Cyclone, the Magfield Accelerator. So this makes them do a lot more damage with their lock-on ability, not their auto attack. Before, you actually increase their lock-on ability damage through their auto attack. So tweaked up just a little bit. Pardon me. But yeah, so whether it's Protoss air through Phoenix or whether it's Protoss air through Tempest, air control definitely seems to be a really important part to playing Protoss right now against compositions like this. The other nice thing is by having enough Phoenix, you can Graviton beam up the Cyclones. You can hold them in the air and just crowd control them out of the fight more than anything else.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine at some point in the near future he will transfer over into one of those capital ships, but Mass Phoenix, yeah, it also isn't that bad against mech. Usually we were talking about versus tanks, but something like it versus Cyclones, it's still crowd control in some way, even though Cyclones can't shoot up. It's not double Stargate yet, though. It is only the one upgrade for the attack of air, which is a little surprising, to be honest. I really thought you start that early, you get a third base that quickly. You're really saying like, oh, I'll try and boost my way to a later tech and beat you that way. But he goes back into like double forge and some gateways, so depending on air entirely.
Cyclone got a little bit ambitious. Sadly, will die for us. I mean, the Phoenix roaming around, there's going to be a turret or two, there's going to be some Cyclones around the bases. They might pick off a couple of units, a couple of SCVs on the transfer, but Marine's actually going to focus this down. Small mistake out of Theo, perhaps? No, he's gonna
I don't know. It looks like Lillekanin just did not expect Phoenixes. Now, luckily, again, it's not double Stargate Phoenixes.
Well,
because
Thor's countered them hard.
Yeah, but he only started making them when he saw that it was Phoenixes. Like, like Theo could have actually gotten away with hiding like 20 Phoenixes and probably winning the game.
Maybe, but look at this. We got a Warp Prism here in the top left. Gonna warp in a couple of Adepts, try and drop towards the main. Problem is, though, Hellions and Hellbats, they're gonna trade out with those Adepts really well. Before, actually, they couldn't even, but the health nerf, Hellbats are actually pretty good now. So are the Hellions. But, yeah, 2 Adepts gonna just come on in right away.
Yeah. One shot those SCVs. A mild annoyance. Nothing else is much happening though. So I mean, even though this is mildly annoying, and now you know War Prism's around, and you got to deal with that in the future, they're both playing pretty macro-oriented right now. Like 3 base versus 3 base, and not a big army for either one of them. So replacing those SCVs lost, not a big deal. He's still at 64. I mean, that really was questionable harass. Like, what was the point? Get a couple SCVs, maybe trade it out equally for the Adepts you warped in.
I do think not just the harass, but keeping tabs on where your opponent's at. Like seeing 2 Stargates or starports like this, part of me, this kind of doesn't look like Liberators initially. This looks more like, hey, it's a Lillekanin, he's probably just gonna go straight to battle cruisers like the last 2 best of 3s I fought him in. But it's Liberators this time around.
Yeah, it is. And yeah, if, you know, like one Adept probably could have done that. It was Shade, though, getting a nice scout, and that would definitely have been worth it. At this point, too, I would also start worrying about observers, though. Like, you start thinking about, like, oh, I need to get a scout. Oh, that's right, I need, like, you know, observers, because observers are pretty good scouts. But I still don't think we have a robo. No, the robos have been used entirely for those immortals, that's right. What's his count up to now? 4. Alright, not as much as I was expecting. They're getting Storm and upgrades, double upgrades, and going into carriers or Tempests.
It's probably Tempest over carriers. The Thor kind of, again, the biggest thing about it is that, okay, it deals bonus damage to light. It can't be picked up by the Phoenix, so it's able to just sit there for a while and defend against this. But for the most part, I am a little bit worried because even with Defender mode and Liberators being as good as they are, that is a lot of Immortals that you brought up. And with their barrier ability, they're going to be able to take some hits, take out the ground, and then possibly just have the Phoenix clear the skies.
Yeah. Are those Tempests? Apparently.
Oh. SV is going to trigger that one too. Oh, what? Awkward. Hello.
Maybe he meant to make an observer and rally it over here.
What are you doing over here, friend? He kills an SCV. Not a good trade at all.
That was weird. Alright, so a definite waste, but, you know, I don't know if I like the way that Theo's been playing this. Now, TVP, or PvT rather for him, versus Mech, you don't get a lot of experience with, although these guys have been playing each other commonly, apparently. But some of the most effective ways we've seen it is you pick one, like, composition, and then you just go hard on it, because you know the Mech player is not going to attack you anytime soon. They're the ones that want to get to that late game. So you go like to 3-4 bases in Heart of the Swarm, which is quite a lot. Legacy of the Void, same deal. And you just go hard on that one composition. having all of these upgrades and all of these Tempests is actually it's really good. I'm not saying it's not, but it does leave room for the mech player who likes the end game to get to that end game. And I can see why they constantly do like battlecruisers versus Tempests if they're allowing each other to do this.
Well, in fairness for Theo, though, you're making this sound like his choice. He's made the mistake of sitting back. But the reality is, with Cyclones being so strong early on, it's kind of actually hard between Liberators and Cyclones to all in a Terran player and finish them off quick, so to speak. Like, cut them off before they get to battlecruisers type thing. A lot easier said than done.
Sure.
I'm not saying it's not possible either.
Attempt, though.
I agree. I 100% agree. But it's the fact that we've seen these guys play and we've seen it work and we've seen it fail so many different ways that, again, I don't think this is the worst way for Theo to play, even though I'm not the biggest fan of it either. Because I do think that any game of StarCraft 2 where you let your opponent sit back, it has nothing to do with balance, but it's just the better player will be able to take advantage of that extra time so effectively.
Well, it might be about balance, let's be honest. Like, the
Well, there's definitely
right
the aspect of balance. But I mean, I think even when the game was quote-unquote balanced in Heart of the Swarm, that was still the reality of the situation. If two players played passive, it was the better one that could make better use of that time. I'm loving these sensor towers, by the way, all over the place. The missile turret ring is cute as well. It's going to be great at stopping the warp prisms from catching him off guard. But I do almost worry that there's too many Hellions and Hellbats. It's going to get to this point where he's going to want to start sacrificing some so we can get a better air army. Also, worth noting that Lillekanin has invested in ground weapon upgrades, not air weapon upgrades yet. For those who don't know, those are no longer shared as an upgrade. That got changed many, many patches ago. So you do have to actually invest into the air weapons individually.
Yeah. Well, they're both maxed out on even bases. Again, if this was TVZ, I'd be like, you know, Heart of the Swarm, I'd be like, mech is scary.
This is the composition, by the way. This is the combo of players where we learned that you can nuke while in a stasis trap.
Oh yeah.
So just kind of a fun thing, because it's one of the most outrageous bugs I've seen yet. But for those who don't know, Lillekanin likes to sort of taper this off with nukes.
I knew that was gonna happen.
I know, just barely, just barely. He likes to taper off his composition with nukes because Theo likes to start putting cannons down in the middle of the map. That's why these probes are out here building pylons. And as it turns out, those stasis wards that the oracles were building, if you get trapped while nuking, it actually still lets you nuke, and you can't be stopped.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, if
Liberators, please.
they're being bad right now. This is late game mech and Heart of the Swarm. I mean, I feel like the other player is screwed, but generally Protoss don't have such bad anti-air themselves, so it can be kind of an interesting game. Liberators really change it up in Legacy of the Void specifically, though, so I have no idea what this is going to look like. The
Liberators are one thing, but we saw this tactic. I remember trying to describe this to you. With Lillekanin, once he got battlecruisers, he was using the tactical warp to actually surround the Tempest. And the thing is, at the end of the day, guys, while Tempests have bonus damage versus massive units like a battlecruiser, they attack slow. Battlecruisers attack wicked fast. It's like Marines versus an Adept. If you got enough Marines, so to speak, or in this case battlecruisers, the Tempests don't stand a chance. But he's going to try and force the issue in the middle of the map right now. Point defense drone's going to come down, soak up some of these Tempest shots, or try to at least. He's a little bit out of range of it. There we go.
Where's the ground army?
Look at the Hellbats coming in a little bit slow.
Not doing anything with the ground army. There's a couple of storms to help out the air army. I mean, that seems to be the #1 problem.
I personally don't know why he dived in there. That didn't seem like an open opportunity or an open invite.
That was weird. Maybe he just wanted to dive in before the cannons are done. I don't know.
Oh, War Prism went through the Templar and it goes down.
Yeah. But the problem seems to be that, like, the ground army of Protoss, like those Archons, they really help out when it comes to, you know, versus air. They get underneath a clump of Liberators, a clump of Vikings, they'll do a ton. Storms get on top of them, they do a ton. But Theo actually just kept his ground army back, except for those storms. It was an interesting tactic, definitely on purpose. It was like on hold position. He didn't really want to take the main fight.
Now, one thing about the Hellions at this point is they can't be sacrificed, start running around and picking off a lot of probes. The Mothership cloaking units as well are going to make this kind of annoying. Obviously, you're going to have scans as Terran, but the Ravens become a little more effective in that regard too. But it's worth noting, Ravens have a really cool new upgrade, and we saw it once, and we saw it not the other time around, but they have an upgrade to increase the auto turret, but most importantly, the Seeker missile damage by 30%. So 130 damage instead of 100 damage Seeker missiles. Kind of nice.
Well, there's the Ghost Academy and there's the Battlecruisers, so yay.
Alright, so it's a slow ramp up to get to this game, and I know I described crazy, guys, and it's been frankly boring if we're going to be blunt about this up to this point, but it's going to be really interesting to see just how this plays out from this point on. Also, I totally forgot about this, but since we have some downtime, I want to bring it up. Folks were asking us about these t-shirts. Now, first off, I hate these t-shirts, and we got a lot of new people on the stream, so I hope you guys don't look at the t-shirts. But for those of you who are fans of the stream and have seen these t-shirts and are stupid enough to buy one, I looked into it, and we are going to try and set up a European version of the t-shirt, because a lot of the folks from Europe don't want to pay 40 bucks in shipping, and let's be honest, who can blame them? So that's supposed to be starting to get taken care of this next coming week. I don't have a time frame, but that is actually something we're working on.
Well, this harassment from a pros player has not been worth it so far.
No.
And you really do not have a huge bank in Legacy of the Void, so every single time he loses like 5 zealots, it seems to be a bit of a waste, basically. He is getting all of the nice bases, though. I mean, really. Yeah, it looks like he's going to try and take the other gold base too and set up a defensive and offensive position potentially.
I swear to God, he always mines out both gold bases. That's how this game goes.
Okay. But it's a good tactic because Lillekanin is the one that, I mean, he took that one engagement and we both agreed that it was odd that he wanted to, but usually like both players do not want to be the attacker, technically, because that's usually going to get you in a worse position. But especially Lillekanin here, of course, the one with the planetaries everywhere, the one pretty much turtling up. Theo's been the more mobile one in this game, and is actually, even still, pushing forward a little bit with the Tempests, killing a couple command centers.
Theo's full of awkward immortals this whole series, I'm just saying.
Immortals are pretty awkward creatures. I mean, they're crab walking.
If the SCV's actually got pulled here, he would have killed that. These two immortals, they bust down through the front walls.
Ghost gonna take care of that. There we go.
Tempest has got that really long range and disgusting shots, so really hard to actually engage on top of these. Let's not forget, battlecruisers are technically weak to them. Being massive units, they will take that bonus damage, and Tempest can mow down a battlecruiser very quickly. That's where the point defense drone becomes really effective, because it will soak up the Tempest shots, regardless of how much damage they deal. It doesn't matter. One shot per laser. Now, as far as this goes, we do have the shrapnel upgrade on the way, explosive shrapnel shells, so we may be thinking about diving in here. The thing about Tempest is they do clump, but only initially. They do spread pretty quickly afterwards, but the Raven's coming in a little bit slow with those point defense drones, so the Tempest take down that first one immediately. Storm's going down like crazy here as well. Archon's looking to get underneath these Vikings. Battlecruiser's taking those feedbacks, but the mothership goes down. Oh. However, there's so many Tempests remaining.
Yeah, all of those Vikings were very low health. One Archon Blast would kill a ton of them. I ended up not going terrible. It was 1 or 2 blasts away from being terrible, but he ends up saving most of his army and can repair it.
He pulls like 30 SCVs to auto-repair these units here too. And that battlecruiser is going to go down. Losing the Ravens really hurt for this, because that was how he was going to engage on top of this army. Vikings, perhaps, though, getting a little ambitious, as you said, very low on health, but the slow attack speed of the Tempest lets them engage. Unfortunately, no Widow Mines on the ground. This is going to make this a little bit hard to zone out any of these Tempests as they continue to push forward. Archon's also looking for that blast! Oh my god! It's like... This is actually really bad for Lillekanin. This looks a lot more akin to the first time we saw him play versus Theo, the very first time in the Lycan League, where Theo's Tempest just ran train over him. Like, there was ghosts, they're ready for EMPs, there was hopeful attempts at nukes going off, but I mean, right now his army still needs to very badly be repaired.
Yeah, honestly, he just looks like the worst composition.
See, I said that too, but then he destroyed Theo with it the last time they played in the show match arenas.
It's so weird.
So it seems to be such a delicate composition that can snowball either way, depending on who gets ahead first.
Well, we have Widow Mines on the way, that just Drilling Claws, I think, finished up, so that'll be interesting. If you can get underneath the Protoss Air Army, the Widow Mines will do fine, but if they, you need a lot to do that. You need like 20, because, 5 of them will instantly die anyways.
Oh, depressing fact to know, by the way, a nuke will not kill a Tempest, it will only take it down to 150 health. I learned this watching Theo walk a bunch of Tempests into nukes last time. But no nukes flying this game, the Ghost goes down. Ravens, once again, no point defense drones. I don't know, Lillekanin's playing this very sloppy. Lots of situations where he's bleeding out units where Honestly, I don't feel like he needs to. Not only just due to positioning or engagements, but lack of point defense drones, lack of use of those Ravens.
A couple of Stalkers getting a kill on, I think, a battlecruiser that was weak. Wouldn't mind trying to get the chase, but there's only 4 of them. They should just die to the ground army. Oh, or not.
Oh.
Ooh, that was pretty nice.
But despite the shots fired, there's just not enough in the air for Lillekanin. The army supply value doesn't look too different, but the effectiveness of it certainly is.
Yeah, the storm is being basically a huge bummer here. That's where the ghost really should come in, but I guess they died. He didn't get that many.
I wonder if, and this is a big what if. We see lots of cannons in the middle of the map, and I know turrets don't shoot down, but would it be worth having turrets up so the Tempest couldn't so easily chase through? I mean, they would have to stop and attack this, and then maybe some of those situations where the battlecruisers are on the retreat, the Vikings are running, they don't get caught.
Yeah, no, I think it would be a great idea, but no one rarely do you have a bank for that. Theo has a bank right now, which is so weird to see in this game.
2 gold bases. I mean, he better have a bank.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He's just been taking much better engagements too. But yeah, Lillekanin never had money to throw down 100 missile turrets wherever he went.
Yeah, the range of the Tempest is so hard to outclass. The thing is, like, 1 or 2 Tempests on their own are really not that great and nothing to really write home about. But when you've got this many of them, they will pretty much focus fire down at least 1 unit before you can even engage. But Lillekanin's still scrapping it. Archon comes up here. Planetary Fortress defending it. Lots of Widow Mines now, by the way, too. No longer just a small amount of 4.
These will almost certainly get under. Some of them will get under the Tempest, but it only needs to be some of them. Like 4 Widow Mine blasts on top of a clump Tempest army. That'll do enough. That is what he needs, but that's what the ground army really just needs to, I mean, almost aim move. Like, Theo has them well upgraded. They're Archons, they're Immortals. They should do well against these clumped up Widow Mines, but...
Yo, it's actually a really important factor. You talk about Theo's bank, and I just look at it now. He doesn't have much gas. If he can wipe this army out, this isn't actually that situation where you normally remax in like 18 Tempests at a time. He doesn't have the gas for it. He warp in like 100 Zealots maybe, but that's about it.
Oh, the Planetary finishes and then dies.
Awkward. Mortals are chasing back this orbital. I mean, Lillekanin's in a much worse situation economically in both minerals and gas, but it is just one of those like hypothetical what ifs. If he gets in there and gets a good fight, because of the dedication to Archons and Tempests, there's been so much gas used out of Theo.
It does have to be a very good fight for Lillekanin, though. Like, if they both wipe, but Lillekanin technically won the fight, he has the same problem. Like, he can't max on anything. And then a charge lot warp-in would win the game just by, like, killing all the protection.
Well, speaking of protection, too, let's not forget, if Lillekanin doesn't want to fight directly, he could always do sneaky scan and then warp in on top of the Stargates or something. But he's going to warp in on top of the army. This is that tactic I was talking about before, right on top of the Tempest. Now they're going to have to run away. Battlecruisers have no problem taking out the Tempest if they're in range. It's the range that's their greatest asset.
Oh, the Widow Mines.
They'll get some burrows off. Storms go down here as well.
Oh, there's a lot of explosions there. You mostly get the left side of the Tempest.
It's a remax on Stalkers? Interesting, interesting. Getting a little too close to the cannons, though. Can't forget, now he's going to have detection for these Widow Mines, and they're not going to get those free shots. Ghost in the front line, too, hoping for some EMPs, but Lillekanin may have played a good game, but I don't think this is going to win the battle. Not with these Stalkers coming in underneath this.
Nope. That is it for Lillekanin's army. GG.
That was a good engagement, but not good enough because he didn't have anything to back that up. The 10 Stalker Remax, as silly as that sounds, was so effective versus the Battlecruisers. But game 1 out of what is possibly 3. We'll see if this